one read. Okay, chapter 19, physical reality. You must not fear the changes that will occur within your physical form as it begins to be guided by the thought system of the truth rather than the thought system of illusion.
Mm-hmm.
You will fear these changes less if you realise that all that has come of love will be kept and all that has come of fear will fall away.
Mm.
You have no need to fear that the end of the special relationship will separate you from your loved ones. You have no need to fear that the joys you have shared with others will be no more. You have no more need to fear the loss of physical joys than you have to fear the loss of mental and spiritual joys. For ages, man has thought that spiritual joy diminishes physical joy. While there is no physical joy that is limited to the physical, no joy felt by the physical form alone, the joy that comes of things physical can certainly still be experienced and expressed. This is no call for judgment upon the physical. How could this be true when the physical is now called upon to serve the greatest learning humankind has ever known? Put these fears to rest. Chantal, you're first on screen.
For ages, physical reality has been linked to temptations of the human experience. Let us now dispel this link. Physical form has been blamed for choices made from lust and greed, hate and fear, vengeance and retribution. These things have always had as their cause the thought system of the ego or the bitterness of the heart. As cause and effect are one, there is no effect to be seen in physical form without a corresponding cause birthed in the ego thought system or the bitterness of the heart.
Hey, Shanti.
Yeah?
Can't hear you very well. If you drop your legs, maybe? Is that
Sure.
getting like the room effect or something?
That these feelings.
Ooh, nice. Do you want to read the previous one? Do you want to start again?
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. Thank you.
For ages, physical reality has been linked to temptations of the human experience. Let us now dispel this link.
Hmm.
The physical form has been blamed for choices made from lust and greed, hate and fear, vengeance and retribution. These things have always had as their cause the thought system of the ego or the bitterness of the heart.
Mm.
As cause and effect are one, there is no effect to be seen in physical form without a corresponding cause birthed in the ego thought system or the bitterness of the heart. That these feelings can be acted out by the body and in the acting out cause harm to other bodies is the cause for blame and fear of the body.
Really?
So too, Is it with actions linked with survival needs? For ages, the survival needs of the body have gone unquestioned and been held paramount. The will of the body to survive has thus been blamed for all actions that have arisen from real and perceived lack. Yet the body has no will, and the survival of the true self is not based upon it.
Anthony, if you're there, we're up to chapter 19 in the Third Treatise. And we're 19.7, I think. Alison, you're next.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Kevin. I'm just listening today.
That's all right. Yep.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Hey. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Right. Because the spiritual life has so often been linked with celibacy, I will mention sexual union specifically here to put behind you any fear that you may have that an end to sexual union may be called for. While some of you may have less desire for physical joining as you become more aware of unity, some may have more desire for physical joining as an expression of that union. Neither option is reason for judgment. Yeah, I wondered about that. I thought about that when he talked about joys, physical joys. There is only one distinction that need be made: what comes of love and what comes of fear. All expressions of love are of maximal benefit to everyone. While you may, for a while yet, not see that all that are not expressions of love are expressions of fear, I assure you this is the case. Thus, any behavior, including sexual behavior that is not of love, is of fear. All that comes of fear is nothing. What this means is that cause and effect are not influenced by what comes of fear. You may still think that suffering and bad behavior have had great effects, but they have not. At times, the love that is received following suffering, or that may arrive due to the reason of some affliction, may be seen as lessons learned from suffering or affliction. But this is no more the case than it was the case in regards to our discussion of extremes.
Excuse me. Are you reading today, Carolyn? No. Okay. Ruben?
There is no longer any time to waste on such illusions. The thought system of the truth sees no value in suffering, and so sees it not in truth. The thought system of the truth is a thought system that is not split by variant, goals, and desires. It is a thought system of unity. It is a thought system of one thought, one goal. That goal is the original thought that began the experience in physical form. The thought of expressing the self in observable form. Leave all blaming of the body behind and see it not as the source of temptations of the human experience. The true source of these temptations has been revealed to lie within the faulty beliefs to which the body merely responds. The body's response to the new thought system will be different in many ways, none of which will lead you to feel that you have lost anything of value to you. One more. While others still remain tied to the old thought system, human behavior will still reflect harmful actions that will seem to arise from bodily temptations. Although you will now represent who you are in physical form in a new way, you can still see that your actions of the past represented who you believe yourself to be. Thus, those continuing to express themselves in harmful ways are deeply entrenched in false beliefs about themselves because they are not expressing who they are. Their expressions are meaningless and have no effect in truth, but only in illusion. To live in truth is to live without fear of the meaningless acts of those living in illusion, because they will be unable to cause effect in the house of truth. Amen. Thank you.
Robin, would you like to read?
Can you hear me from here?
Mm-hmm.
These lessons could not be taught while blame remained within your thought system. No victim is to blame for the violence done to them. No sick person is to blame for the illness within them. But you must be able to look at and see reality for what it is. Just as we are telling you that new beliefs and ideas will lead to a new reality, old beliefs and ideas led to the old reality, a reality that will still exist for some even after it changes completely for you. This will seem even more inconsistent with a benevolent universe than it once did because of the difference between one reality and the other. A difference that couldn't be seen until it was represented in an observable manner, something you will now do. One more?
Yep.
You would think that this disparity would be divisive and extremely uncomfortable and even rage-producing for those still living in illusion. But it will be much more tempting to be divisive, uncomfortable, and rage-producing for those living in the new. Many who observe the new from the house of illusion will still be able to deny what they see. Just think of how many saints and miracles you have heard of in the past without being moved to believe that they mean anything at all about the nature of who you are. This is why no more time can be wasted, and why so many are being called in the strongest manner it is possible to call them. It is only when what is observable is so widely evident that it can no longer be denied that changes of a large scale will begin to be seen.
Thanks, Robin. Kim?
You will be tempted to return to the house of illusion, to gather those within and bid them join you in the reality of the truth. But in this time of Christ, a new time, a time without parallel or comparison, this will not be possible. It has been said from the beginning that your role will not be to evangelize or to be convincing. You cannot argue the case of truth in the courtroom of illusion.
Nice one. Courtroom of illusion.
While this would seem to leave some without hope, it will leave no one without choice. It will make the one clear and only choice evident. It is a choice to live in truth or in illusion. There are many ways that can still be found to come to the truth, but a way of getting to the truth will become so attractive that few will be able to resist. What will make this choice so attractive will not be martyrs and saintly souls stricken with every calamity and yet remaining to tell those who would listen about the glory of God.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh. What will make this choice so attractive are ordinary people living extraordinary and miraculous and observable lives. Right. Observable lives. Takes the pressure off a bit. Cannot argue the case of truth in the courtroom of illusion. Oh, yeah. Mm.
Mm.
I guess that's why we need a body, hey? Otherwise, we can't be observed. Oh.
I feel it brings us back to the nucleus of who we are in spirit, in Christ. And it brings us back to choice.
I was struck by the similarity in the word joys and choice earlier on.
What do you mean?
Well, he talked about joys for a while, and then he talked about choice. And at one point, I saw them as the same word, just like in listening to it, you know. That's the way to go. What makes you choose what makes you happy.
Mm.
It's like once you see the truth, you can't unsee it.
Mm.
I also felt in the very last sentence, what makes this choice so attractive are ordinary people living, and I'm going to change it a little bit, living extraordinary and living through extraordinary and miraculous life situations. So it's not just even like ordinary people being extraordinary, it's just at certain times being extraordinary or miracles. Like I don't know, it does take the pressure off of that sainthood goal that I think I used to have, and I think so many people have. It's like you're either saintly or you're not. That's why I kind of changed it to like, I think everybody has a saintly moment, no matter who they are.
I think we're saintly all the time. We just don't observe it in people or ourselves.
Well, I guess I see like saintly as this sort of unreal thought of perfection, which I don't even see like Jesus as like this sense of perfection, because he had moments where he like threw things off tables and wondered why somebody was grabbing his cloak, like, so I don't know. I think it shows his humanness, his ability to be both.
But why wasn't that perfection also? Like I see that as perfection also.
Yes, but I'm yes.
Sorry.
No, the conflation of both humanness and and spirit, I do believe is perfect. But I think for myself earlier, and I think a lot of people still think like it means you have to like do these grand gestures, which you may not even feel oneness with. Like you might think like, oh shit, I have to go help this person, but I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like somehow, I don't know. Somehow there's a difference. Anyway.
I mean, we're asked to, like, relationships are changing from being special relationships to holy relationships. That's what's going on here. It's part of the, you know, in the last chapter or last week's reading, he talked about staying with these new beliefs. You are already accomplished, giving and receiving are one in truth. There's no loss but only gain, and special relationships have been replaced by holy relationships. So all those ideas of what's right and wrong, all that stuff, we just come back to the truth of who people are, the truth of the beingness of our brothers and sisters.
Thank you.
I think Annie is talking about the awareness of the shift between the head and the heart. Like, it's that simple. It's like the head says we should do this and should do that, and the heart's going, like, I want to do this, I want to do that, through love, you know.
Yeah, I think holy relationships does cover it too for me. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to move on to the next chapter?
Do it.
Cole, your turn.
Suffering and observance. By saying that there is no longer any time to be wasted on illusion, we are saying that you will no longer serve time, but the time will serve you. Ta-da. Time was wasted on illusion, and so but seemed to become a master that made of you a slave. Now time must be thought of in a new way, a way that has to do with different effectiveness. Illusion has at its base a false cause, and so no effects that exist in truth. Now, your every thought and action will have an effect. It will have an effect, and the choice that lie before you will be choices of where your thoughts and action will have the greatest effect. Although there is no sense to be made of concepts such as more or less within illusion, and although more or less are concepts also foreign to the truth, there is sense to be made from these concepts in regard to learning of the truth. As this is all that time is for, and all that time is but a measurement of, it rightly follows that learning can take place at a slow pace or a fast pace. There's no more or less to learning in terms of knowing the truth that you have always known, but there are degrees of remembering. This is what we work to have, and since this is what we work to have occur, time can become our ally by using it for effectiveness.
Chaz and Anne just joined us. We're on Third Treatise, chapter 19, chapter 20 now, sorry, chapter 20 up to 20.3.
3.
And the title of the chapter is Suffering and Observance. And Annie, you're next if you want to read.
Sure. Again, do not let your thoughts stray to benefiting and affecting others. In unity, all others are one with you, and thus what you strive for in effectiveness is your own learning. Wow. Now, rather than learning the truth, you are learning how to live by the truth. This will benefit you, and in doing so, benefit all others. In a treatise on the art of thought, you were asked to request a miracle as a learning device. This learning device had two aspects. The first was to reveal to you your fears concerning the miracle so that you would learn from them. The second was to assure you that the miracle is the most effective way of convincing you of who you are. Let us now link observation and the miracle. An easy illustration is provided, so as so often is the case, by looking at observation under the guidance of the ego thought system, and thus seeing the errors of the old way in order to realize the perfect sense of the new. Think about a situation in which you have observed the illness or suffering of another. Sympathy is the most common observance in such a circumstance. You might feel called to tears, to words that acknowledge how bad the illness or suffering is. You are likely to be drawn into discussions concerning how the illness or suffering can be fought. You are likely to hear questions concerning why the illness or suffering has come to be, and to hear or offer comments about the unfairness of the situation. Judgment is never far from these observations. Suffering, you would think, could not be seen as anything but bad. You cannot feel anything but sorry for the one suffering. Yet you are always drawn, despite these feelings of the badness of the situation, to offer encouragement. If the situation is particularly grim, and realize that this too is a judgment, for some illness and suffering are surely seen as being worse than others. Encouragement is given despite the fact that it is unwarranted. Yet even while you offer encouragement, you worry about giving false hope and wonder how realistic you should be or should assume the other to be. You look ahead, and in your mind's eye, you observe the future as a repetition of the present, or as a long war with little chance of being won. You chide yourself not to deny the facts, and you begin, along with the one whom you observe, the long walk towards death's door. Wow. All of these actions could be called your observance of the situation. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Back to me, I think. You do not seem to realize that all of this is happening in relationship and that the relationship is meaningful or able to cause effect. You can't imagine not feeling bad given such circumstances. You cannot imagine not offering sympathy. You think it naive to believe in positive outcomes. You listen to statistics of what has occurred before and in similar situations, and you believe in what the statistics would seem to tell you. You might thank God for technology that would seem to offer hope, or for drugs that would ease suffering. And you might pray that God spare this one from future seemingly already written, and think that it is more realistic and even helpful than living by the laws of truth. You will see it as quite difficult at first to respond to such situations in a new way, but all situations within the house of illusion call for the same response, the response of love to love. Why think you it is loving to believe in suffering? Do you not begin to see that in so doing you but reinforce it?
Wow.
What you might even call the fact of it. Can you not instead ask yourself what harm could be done by offering a new kind of observance? While you need not act in ways inconsistent with compassion or even verbalize your new beliefs, you are being told directly here that no circumstance should call you to abandon them. Chantal?
What's the number?
29.
2010.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, your new thought system is not tied to beliefs of an if this, then that nature. Look at the examples all around you. People who live what you call healthy lives succumb to illnesses and accidents, just as do those who live what you call unhealthy lives. Good people have as much calamity before them as do bad. I am not calling you to just another version of being good or mentally healthy, to exercises in visualization or positive thinking. I am calling you to live by the truth and to never deny it. To see no circumstance as cause to abandon it. Yes, I am providing you with means to help you know how to live by the truth. The means are not the end and are never to be confused as such. Your observance is to remain with cause rather than stray to effect. Miracles are not the end, but merely the means of living by the truth. Miracles are not meant to be called upon to create specific outcomes in specific circumstances. They are meant to be lived by as the truth is meant to be lived by. Not because you desire an outcome, but because it is who you are. And because you realize you can no longer be, live, or think as other than who you are in truth. This is how thorough your learning must be. It is a learning that must not change to fit the circumstances of illusion, but be unchanging to fit the circumstances of the truth. You can no longer return to the house of illusion, not even to cause explosions within it. You have stepped out of this house and are called not to return, to turn your back not on the truth, nor on God or love.
Will those you love still suffer? Many may, but not with your help. Will many more, with your help, see an end to suffering? Many will. Will an end to suffering be what you work toward? No, this is not your work. This is not about your effort. This is about your observance. Your observance of the laws of love. Your observance is to remain with cause rather than stray to effect. Many of the manner of living practice by those who have birthed an idea that cause and effect are one in truth. I thank you for your strong desire to be saviours of the world and to end her suffering. I thank you for your compassion and for your desire to be of service to the world. But I call you from peace and ask for you to remain in peace with me, and let not the suffering of the world call you from it. When these things of the world threaten to call you from your peace, you must remind yourself that it is only from within the peace of God that your wholeheartedness and our unity is accomplished. My dear brothers and sisters in Christ, let nothing call you to return to the old ways. They do not work. To minister to those within the house of illusion is to offer the temporary to the temporary, when I call you to offer the eternal to the eternal. The new way will work wherever it finds willingness. You cannot call others to abandon their willingness to live in an illusion by joining them there. You can only call others to a willingness to set illusions aside and to begin the journey home to unity. You can only call them from the unity if you are already there.
Alison?
Oh, that stuff speaks to me very personally because my mum had a fall yesterday and I'm already looking after her, you know, going over and doing meals for her and stuff. And it just sort of, it was a hard day yesterday. And I know I have to approach it from some different thing, but I felt myself to be going crazy yesterday, having to be there and not, you know, I feel like I need to actually serve her in this time when she, you know, when she needs some help. But I felt I've had less and less of a life of my own with it. So I think this is really good. I'm feeling a bit beaten down by it, actually.
Warm hug and embrace of light for you.
Yeah. It's only from within the peace of God. Oh.
I wonder if there's really such a thing as a life of our own, or is there really it's just life? You think it's our own, but you know, I don't know.
I just spend most of my life doing, and most of the time I have, you know, I'm thinking about her needs and getting on with doing her needs and just barely, minimally providing for my own. And I just do feel that, like, I know I need a change in how I'm seeing this. And I'm not feeling like I'm approaching it from within the peace of God right at the moment. Ooh, I'll start reading. We're up to 16.
Like it says, you know, it doesn't require effort. It just requires the willingness to see it that way.
Yeah.
With
I
the
mean,
willingness,
I've
it
been
just
coming
begins
from
to,
effort.
yeah. And with the willingness, it comes. You know, he keeps talking about this willingness. Just be willing, you know, just that's all it's required, just to be willing. Can you do it? No, but be willing. And with that, it comes.
Yeah, and it's really important for me, and I've been, I have been sort of aware of this, not to see her as this body that is hurt. Because, she has her body is hurt at the moment. She's hurting, but that's not who she is. I have to remind myself to see who she is and not sort of focus on that aspect of things.
And just to call these things like remind us to stay in peace of God.
Yeah.
Being present for it, and not joining it in a way of suffering. Like if I suffer with you, you're gonna feel better, kind of thing. It's like you become observable for others where you stay then, but it reconfirms it within.
Oh yeah, it's a story. It's a story I've got caught up in. The story of what's happened to her, and
It's perfect, perfect chapter, as it always is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the paragraph 13 might be very helpful to read again.
Yes, I mean, we know. Yeah. Will those who love still suffer? Many may, but not with your help. Will many more, with your help, see an end to suffering? Many will. I hope so, but I don't see how right at the moment.
Keep reading.
Many will. Will an
the next paragraph.
The next paragraph?
Yeah.
Oh, keep reading.
Well, that's what I meant about, like, thank you for sharing your light and your courage to feel it and to know that there is another perspective. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier, is like there's a way to be there, like this was saying, without falling into it too deeply, and just by sharing that stuff, with others, it sort of dissipates a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's good that I can feel lighter for having.
Yeah, so thank you for your courage to share that. That's where giving and receiving like are one. At least for me, at times. So thank you.
It's so hard to make that leap, isn't it, to observe not the effects. But I guess it's a start to know that that's possible, and we can be willing to go for that or something. Because it seems impossible to me at the moment to be able to do that.
Well, the mind itself will always find it difficult. But now, why don't you look through the eyes of the heart? And look at it straight away, you feel the difference. Because the heart immediately connects you deeper to your whole self. And from your whole self, there is only observance. But when we look at it through the mind, it's going to be very difficult. His mind alone is a separate entity that wants to sort things out and play these weird games, It's just that tiny little switch over to the wholeness. It's just right there, available every instant. And so we're retraining ourselves to look to the eyes of the heart.
Yeah, I think I've just been blamed. I just got in touch with, I've been really actually quite angry that she's allowed this bloody thing to happen and blaming her. So here I go again, blame. No, I was facing blame again, and I choose to do so no longer.
Yeah, so what a gift.
Quite grumpy about the fact that she had this accident because she pushed herself, and then I blame her for what I do with it. Okay, I can let that one go.
What a gift of observance. Wow.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Hmm.
I'll read now.
Let Leanne know. Leanne, we're up to in the Third Treatise, chapter 20, up to 20.16.
These calls go out from love to love. No. It is not the words of your mouth that will be heard, or the language of your mind that will be responded to. It is the love within your heart that will sound the call. Oh.
Yeah.
And when it is heard and your brother or sister reaches out to you, all you need ask for is a little willingness.
Da-da-da.
All you need do is open the door through which love can enter. And thus we return to observance, the observance of love by love. See not what love would not have you see. Turn from the dark ways of illusion and shine the light of truth for all to see. Remain who you are and continue to live by the laws of love in every circumstance. And you bring love to every circumstance. And you bring love to every circumstance.
Yeah.
Remain who you are and continue to live by the laws of love in every circumstance. And you bring love to every circumstance. Be neither dismayed nor discouraged by those who do not see and have no willingness to offer. Just know these aren't the ones given you to bring to love. And trust that none will remain forever lost to his or her own self. Thank you.
Thanks, Alison. Ruben?
You are as pioneers to this new world. Its mere existence will attract others, and each will find the price of admission is their willingness to leave the old behind. This is a price they must freely give, and it cannot be extorted from them. Not from special ones of your choosing, and not from anyone. Thus you are released from a burden never meant to rest upon you, even if it is one you might have freely chosen. Your task is to create a new world and make it observable, not for you to recruit others to it. Thus, the circumstance of suffering or illness is not different, but the same as every other circumstance you will encounter. You will encounter truth or illusion and nothing else, for there is nothing else. There is but one call for all circumstances, the call to love from love, the call that welcomes all to live in truth.
Mm.
And everything starts with me, and everything ends with me. So, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Mm.
We want to do one more?
No.
The next one is a bit long, so maybe we'll just let this one really sink in, I'd say.
Mm.
Yeah, that's enough for me.
Think of yeah, it's pretty loaded,
Mm.
and even what the experience in the room is right now, it's beautiful. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Does the room feel good about that?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to let it sink in because these are massive concepts. that help us to connect to a massive part of ourselves, that's wholeness, which everyone's included, and that's big. Yeah, keep having this thought of, like, in the chorus it says, Jesus was a man who saw the face of Christ in all his brothers and sisters and remembered God. And for me, that feels the same. It's like, it's that tiny little, two voices, two choices. Yeah.
So this concept of observance is seeing everything through God's eyes.
Yeah.
How God sees it.
Yeah. God, who is your being, right?
Yeah.
God is not far from us. Like
the oneness.
Yes.
Can I reread 2013? I'm being called to read that.
No, of course
not. Will those you love still suffer? Many men, but not with your help. Will many more, with your help, see an end to suffering? Many will. Will an end to suffering be what you work toward? No. No, this is not your work. This is not about your effect.
Effort.
Effort.
Oh, thank you.
Big.
Thank you. Effort to effect. Yes. This is about your observance of the laws of love. Your observance is to remain with cause rather than to stray to effect. The manner of living practiced by those who have birthed the idea that cause and effect are one in truth. Thank you all.
Such a beautiful reminder over and over that it's not my work. I don't have to do anything. Just come back to that inner peace and observe.
Or be willing or desiring to get back to that effect. Yeah.
I had something in my head that even to observe, you've got to be doing something with the mind.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And yet when that neighbor...
How do I do this? How do I do this, right?
Yeah. And yet when that neighbor came to my door after I banged on the ceiling, and he was so angry and upset and shaking, I realized I was just observing. I was just sort of looking at him without thinking anything. And then I didn't really react, and then I was wondering why he was so upset. And then he sort of walked away. But then his wife came down to see me the next day, and we had this beautiful interaction, and we hugged each other, and I don't know really what happened. And it was just, and I think it was from this, I was actually observing, but I didn't know that I was, because something shifted. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I kind of see observing.
Nothing. I was doing nothing.
Observing as being present in the now.
Looking. Yeah. Yes. Oh.
So it really, observing really is wholeheartedly, not how I used to think of observing with my physical eyes, but just being present for whatever is there, including, the pain, the suffering, the effect of blame that I have for others, and allowing those tears to come and allowing others to know that and allowing it to pass through. you know.
Is it like holding space? Just holding space.
Well, like letting go of space almost. I mean, it may be holding space, like that might be semantics, but it's just being there for whatever is occurring.
Yeah, just
be it quote
be.
unquote good or bad. You know, they're both the same. And that's what it's saying. Like all circumstances are the same. So if I hold on, I know for me, if I hold on to them, which I have to a lot of things, you know, now realizing that like at some point they will want to come out. They will want to pass through. And once they do, whoa, it's just a much deeper level of peace and love and, you know, the love of God that comes within me. And the relationship with that I have. So I don't know.
It was like you were holding space for him to express himself.
No, I like that. Yeah.
But without even really knowing that in the mind, yeah.
Beautiful, guys.
Observing, yes.
In my own experience, I had to remind myself at all time that I am the mind, and all things, all this stuff is happening in my mind, and they're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. And I used to get engaged with those thoughts. Now I'm the mind, and I'm here only to represent whom he sent me. So I don't say anything. I find myself being quiet, not responding to whatever they're talking about.
Yes.
And it feels good at the end. I had 3 daughters, and I always try to teach them to be independent, not to depend on nobody, not even the body, not even their own body. And now with all this truth that I know, I keep telling them, you're just a thought in my mind. And I hold you there. But these past 5 weeks, my God, they're totally dependent. One of them, the little one, she didn't want to see me. And I'm like, I was angry. But at the same time, I'm like, that's what I wanted. I always dreamed she needs to be independent. She doesn't need me. I'm so happy. I'm told at the end, I found peace in everything because she's living her dream without the papa. It is great. I mean, I'm free. It's like the ego thought system is there, but it's transmuted from separation to oneness. And it feels so good deep inside myself. Because the truth is, without thinking, without thought, it just is. So my reality is without daughters, without fathers, mothers. Those are just labels. Deep is oneness. And I found it. And in some way, they're finding themselves too. So these past 5 weeks, it's been a roller coaster, but it feels so good at the end. Finally, I can say. And I thank my daughter. I sent her a text. Thank you. Thank you. I can feel the freedom. So anyway, thank you, love you. Thank you. I'm complete.
Once I looked up a dictionary for the word mind. And I think in this world, when we say mind, we point in our head. But the word mind actually means it's a part of us that thinks and feels. And that part we don't often point to. But that's what mind is. It's like the whole thing. And, you know, the Course says it beautifully. It says, like, there is a split in the mind. And the split is between this part of us that thinks and part of us that feels. And then when the feel is gone, the mind is on its own, rambling on and on, ungrounded, making up a world that's not there. So it's always got to remember the mind is much bigger thing than just a tiny little sort of overemphasized, overpowered part of our mind that's focused up in here. That mind is our whole self. And that's what we're connecting to. And Course of Love brings it more through the heart, which is such a beautiful way, such an effortless, just to remembering love, or remembering that, you know, that love is not just an idea in the head, it's an experience of wholeness. Da-da-da. Thank you, darlings.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you.
Well, see you all in a week.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. For being beautiful read.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, everyone.